we're going to talk about flooding and high temperatures relationship. Last time we talked about flooding. We know flooding is excess rain that drops on the earth, causing too much water accumulating in an area. So we said flooding occurs due to heavy rains, most especially in lowland areas. Lowland areas simply means areas which are below the sea level. Temperature, when temperatures go high, they heat a lot of water in the lakes, and also ice melt in the Arctic areas. So the melting of ice in the Arctic areas makes a lot of water to evaporate to atmosphere. When water evaporates to atmosphere, what happens? That a lot of water evaporates to atmosphere and causes what we call evaporation. When evaporation occurs, too much water enters into atmosphere. Now the water is condensed into rain. So when too much water enters into atmosphere and is condensed into rain, definitely you have to get a lot of rain. So when rain rains too much, you expect an area to develop what we call flooding. So when area floods, then it means there was too much rain. Too much rain was experienced in that area, and flooding occurred. So what you need to know about flooding is when there is too much rain that drops in a certain area, then water accumulates. Most especially areas with lowland areas. If you build in a lowland area, see these days due to population pressure, people build in a lowland area because you have nowhere to build in the highland area. So what happens? You are forced to build in the lowland area. Then when rain comes, too much rain comes, you expect the to be flooded. So when you're building near the swamps, near the swamp area, near the water collection points, we have seasonal swamps. Sometimes you can treat a seasonal swamp as a place where water will not accumulate. But after a certain period, the water will accumulate in that area. So when you're building in such areas, you have to be very, very careful that anytime water will attack you. And when water comes, water does not mind about how strong your house is or how standard it is, but water will wash away whatever they come across. You see, there are what we call channels of water. For you to interfere with a channel of water flow, where water flows from the upland up to the lowland areas, if you interfere with that water system movement, water will always find their way through their own way to move up to the upland, from the upland to the lowland area. So what you have to be careful is, where are you constructing your home? Where is the city is? Sometimes we develop cities and towns in these lowland areas because maybe they have good soil, they have good accessibility, they have a lot of fertility and the rest. But now these lowland areas are very, very dangerous these days because of high temperatures. Global warming is affecting the Arctic areas. The Arctic areas those are areas where there is a lot of ice. Okay, for the ice to melt in the Arctic area, it means the sun has hit the Arctic area highly. So you expect that water to melt, and when that water melts, it will change into vapor because it is heated. So when the water changes into a vapor, definitely it goes to the sky and they are cold. So if there is a high evaporation, on the earth, you expect too much water to be processed in the sky. So when there is too much water condensed in the sky, and when that water falls in a certain area, so especially maybe in your town, in the city, or across the roads, or in the village, you expect flooding to occur. You expect flood because that water is too much. It is falling at a very heavy rate. So that heavy rate of fall of water affects houses. Sometimes it breaks houses. When it breaks houses, you have to lose the accommodation. But even the system of health will be affected, including how you feed will be affected because you will have no accessibility to other areas to collect either firewood or get fuel, or even the electrical system is going to be affected. So what happens is that the whole system is broken down in that area. So that thing is really very, very dangerous. So when we are looking at our world, we have to look at how are we constructing the world and how are we avoiding too much temperatures. So avoiding too much temperature simply means cutting down the emissions, the what we call fossil fuels, the, the emissions of fossil fuels, the formation of anyway industrial revolution also affects the atmosphere. So the industry, too much evaporation that is brought from the industry and the affects the atmosphere by increasing the temperature. When the temperature is increased, what happens is that the atmosphere is going to be heated. And when the atmosphere is heated, the temperature causes the Arctic areas to melt. Then that very temperature also comes back to, to, the, to, the, to the atmosphere, causing what we call thermal heating.
You're teaching. Yeah. Sorry.
The thermal heating that occurs is because of those high temperatures. So the thermal heating now will be caused by that too much temperature. So 5,000. 5,000.
5,000.
Juliet. Okay. So my students are wondering what is going on. Thank you very much. So we're talking about the thermal heating. So when the world is heated, those temperatures really cause a lot of damage. They cause a lot of damage not only to human beings but also to other animals. Remember, there are some animals which produce with cold temperatures. Such animals, these days, they are in the verge of extinction, just because their mating period is affected because of high temperatures. You see, there are some animals which are so specific. They're specific in a way that their mating is periodic. It is not throughout like other animals, like human beings. Mating can be every time and what. But other animals, they have a specific mating period. So that specific mating period, if the temperatures change, those animals are not going to mate, and they are not going to even to reproduce. So temperature affects a lot of things in the world. The increase of temperature in the world affects humans highly and other animals. Sometimes causes extinction also. The extinction of animals are caused by the changes in behavior of the world, changes of behavior of the world. See, like now we are concentrating on urban. Most people are moving to urban. But in the urban areas where the urbans are located, you find there are nearby swamps, there are nearby forests, there are nearby seasonal swamp or water passages areas, they are there. But now what happens with human behavior is that when you are located in a swamp, what happens, we try to do agriculture there, we try to settle there, building permanent houses. So we interfere with the animal breathing areas. We interfere with normal atmospheric what behavior. So when we interfere with that, it simply means the world normal is not achieved. The world normal are what we call standard temperatures. Standard temperatures will not be achieved. That's why you see in the world today, they will tell you today here there's too much sunshine here, there is too much rain here. You hear of flooding here and there. So those things all come about as a result of change of temperature, because change of temperature changes the humidity of the area. Change of the humidity of the area most especially causes what we call terrestrial rains to occur. And when those rains occur, they occur in a heavy manner. See that? So when those rains occur in a heavy way, what you expect is only one thing: flooding, the outbreak of diseases, and also the effect of human settlement. You see, when you settle in the urban, sometimes you tend to be relaxed in the urban. When your settlement in the urban is affected, like your house has got broken down, you see how you're going to zero. Your house is broken down, whatever you have in the house is broken down, and the flood has washed everything, the roads are destroyed, the vehicles are affected. You see that all these things amount to loss in human, what humans have. So that loss is really very great. That's why we need to fight more on the increase of temperature in the world. So the increase of temperature, last time I told you that increase of temperature occurs as a result of cutting forests, industrialization, high construction rate, then also the building along the what? The swamp areas. We interfere with water flow. So those are highest things that cause temperatures to increase. So when the temperatures increase, what do we expect now in the world? One, we expect to lose our crops. There are crops which are not really resistant to temperature. We lose those crops. Secondly, we lose what we call animal settlement places. We have places where animals live in, like other animals, they live in the oceans. And when those oceans get warmed up, those animals can no longer live there effectively. See that? When those animals don't live in the oceans effectively, what happens? Their rate of reproduction will reduce. Even they will go to the verge of extinction, because now the environment that they are is now changed. Then two, there is what we call the change in the animal behavior, what we call variation. The animals will what happens with animals? There will be a variant, the development of a certain class or a certain species of animal. That species of animal, those species of animal that will emerge due to a change in temperature or the change of environment will be animals which are resistant, but sometimes they are destructive to human settlement too, like the formation of the formation of certain viruses. Is what we call formation of resistant viruses or bacteria. So such bacteria which Loidi. Baga kwa namba ni. Panakakia namban. Human resistant viruses, bacteria, even the parasites. That's why you see these days in the globe we have we have viruses and bacteria which are resistant to treatment. That resistance is caused about due to change of the global change of global temperatures. Ati aja ngatukot. And the change of the effect is caused by temperatures. When these temperatures are really high, I talked of a change in the variance of animals, because they will try to adapt to a certain way of life in those areas, most especially either in Arctic or in upland areas. So those viruses or bacteria or animals that emerge due to the change of the environment, those animals are going to be too much resistant to diseases. When they become too much resistant to it will not for them to be treated. That's why you will hear of a pandemic as occurred, an epidemic due to such resistances. So high temperatures in the world really have affected people mostly in the globe. It's affected people mostly in the globe. We talk about now when floods occur. You see, when floods occur, last time we talked about it destroys property, it destroys people's settlements. But worst of it all, the floods come up with the infections. When the floods occur in the area, you expect infections, especially in the African areas, whereby mosquitoes are high. You expect now mosquitoes to have that privilege to 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 manifest and reproduce and also spread higher. Then you expect wildlife to move from the waterlogged areas, most especially from the oceans, or where those wild animals will move out from those areas. They will enter to where humans stay. That's the danger of flooding. Those wild animals like the snakes, the crocodiles, those animals that live in the oceans, those animals that live in the lakes, they will get that privilege to come out of the ocean or the lake or the rivers, to come out and they invade the human population. See, when big snakes come from the ocean, or from the lake, the human settlement around there will not be peaceful, because everyone will be conscious of his or her life. So that is very dangerous, very, very dangerous. That's why we need to fight more on the global temperature, see how we can plant forests, see how we can plant even these small trees around homes, see how we can reduce issues of constructing, breaking down the forests to get land for agriculture. See, those are things that spoil the temperature, the global temperature. We are cultivating too much. We will need to grow crops. We need to construct our roads. So we break the forests. We enter into the forests. We cut them down. So when we cut them down, remember, forests are breathing. They help in gases exchange. So those gases exchanges help human beings. They help to cool the world. Because the most prestigious thing that we have in the world is the forest, the tree. The tree is the one that is able to give us oxygen. It absorbs our carbon dioxide and gives us oxygen. So the oxygen that the tree gives helps a lot in cooling the atmosphere, human breathing. It cleanses, it cleans the world, the fossils and the rest. So we talked of the fossils. The fossils are these things that we use as a source of energy, like the coal, the charcoal, the firewood. Then industries bring what we call carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and some of those industries even break or power their waste into lakes, rivers, oceans. See, that's what really affects the globe so much. Then we have this manufacturing. We manufacture a lot of things in the world today. This manufacturing brings about what we call metals, the caveras and the containers. All these things here, when they are brought, they affect human environment. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your watch, and thank you for being a viewer on this channel. I request you before you leave, drop your comment, drop your contribution in the channel. We shall have a time to revise it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that every time we make a live stream, you are able to get this live stream. These live streams mostly help people. You also have to learn something and get knowledge. Thank you very much. Shalom.